Good morning. Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 12. We're looking at using graphs to compare relationships. We're going to start off today with a warm-up on fractions and division. So I want you to pause the video to find each product or quotient mentally. So just pause the video to do that. All right, welcome back. Let's check and see how you did. So we can remember when we're multiplying fractions, we just multiply across. So 2 times 1 and 3 times 2, we're going to end up with 2/6, which is also equal to 1/3. So now we have 4/3 times 1/4. So 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. And if we simplify that, we know that's going to be 1/4. Now we have 4 divided by 1/5. So we've got to remember this goes over a whole number. And we're going to change this to multiplication and 5 over 1. So 4 times 5 becomes 20. Again, same thing here. We have our fraction. It's currently in division. We're going to change it to multiplication. And this is going to become 2 over 1. So we'll have 18/6 or 3. Okay, let's look at the next part. So we have Diego, Lynn, and May went from the ticket booth to the bumper cars. Use each description to complete the table representing that person's journey. So we're going to start with Diego. Diego left the ticket booth at the same time as Tyler. Diego jogged ahead at a steady pace and reached the bumper cars in 30 seconds. So we're going to have to refer back to a previous lesson to grab Tyler. So we're going to look back at lesson 11 on page 150. And here we have Tyler's walk. So in order to figure out Diego's time, we've got to look at Tyler's time. So it says Diego left the ticket booth at the same time as Tyler. So if this is when Diego left, or Tyler left, we know this is also when Diego's going to leave. So we can go ahead and we can put that same point of 0, 0 on Diego's. So Diego jogged ahead at a steady pace and reached the bumper cars in 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, he reached the bumper cars that were about 50 meters away. So we've got to figure out how fast is he going per second. I want you to pause the video and solve for that. All right, welcome back. So let's look at this. How do we go from 15 to 30? What are we going by? We had to multiply by 2 to get from 15 to 30. So we multiplied by 2. So then going this way, we could divide by 2. So if we divide 50 by 2, we're going to end up with 25. So we've got to figure out that 1 second. So remember, when we're looking for this, we're going to divide the distance over time. So it's going to be distance over time. So we can take our 50 and divide it by 30. So we have 50 over 30. And remember our trick with our fractions, where if there's a 0 at the end of both numbers, we can just cross that out. And now we have our simplified answer. So in 1 second, he goes 5/3 of a meter. You could also write that as 1 whole, and you'll have 2/3 left over, so 1.6. So there are two ways that you can write that. Okay, so we've filled out Diego's. Let's look at Lynn. Lynn left the ticket booth at the same time as Tyler. She ran at a steady pace and arrived at the bumper cars in 20 seconds. So she left at the same time as Tyler, and Tyler left at 00. So we're going to fill in 00 for Lynn's journey. Now we've got to fill in the rest. So it says she ran at a steady pace and arrived at the bumper cars in 20 seconds. All right, well, we get to look here again. We have 50 and 25. So how do we go from 50 to 25? That's right, we have to divide by 2. So divide by 2. So then going this way, we would do the same thing and divide by 2. So 20 divided by 2 gives us 10. Now we want to find for 1 second. We're going to use the same formula again, distance over time. So if we have our distance of 50 meters over our time of 20 seconds, again, we have that 0 at the end of both of them. We can cross it out, and we end up with 5/2, which written as a decimal would be 2.5. All right, let's look at Mai. She's our last table we need to fill in. Mai left the booth 10 seconds later than Tyler. So she left 10 seconds later than Tyler. So at 0 meters, her time is going to be 10. Now we've got to figure out right here. So we have 40 and 50. So how do we go from 50 to 25? What do we need to do there from 50 to 25? That's right, we're going to divide by 2. And that means we're going to do the same thing over here. 40 divided by 2 is going to give us 20. And then once again, we're going to find our distance over time for 1 second. So distance over time, our distance is 50 over 40. So 50 over 40. Again, we have that double 0, so we can cross it out, and we have 5/4. So we're going to write 5/4. You could also write this as 1.25 or 1 1/4. So we've now filled in all of their graph or their tables. Now we're going to flip the page and look at a graph. So using a different color for each person, draw a graph of all 4 people's journeys, including Tyler's from lesson 11. So we're going to take these same points here, and we're going to plot them for Tyler as well. So pause the video and take a moment to fill that in. So one of the first things that I want to do is I'm going to color code everybody. So I'm going to start with Diego's, and I'm going to make Diego's green. So Diego's points are all going to be green. So I know Diego's going to start at 0, 0. So I'm going to put a point on 0, 0. Then he goes 15, 25. I'm going to go over 15 and up to 25. And place a dot for that. Then I'm going to look down again. I have 30, 50. So I'm going to go over here, over to 30, and all the way up to 50. So now I have 30, 50. And then his last one is 1 and 1/5. 1 and 5/3. So this one's going to be a little bit tricky. So I might actually just use my ruler and draw out that line to make it a little easier. Or if you don't have a ruler immediately next to you, what you can use is a straight edge. and you can just connect all of those dots together. So we know this line is Diego. Now we're going to grab a different color and let's do the next one. So next up we have Lynn. I'm going to make Lynn pink. So Lynn's points are all going to be pink. She also started at 0, 0. So I'm going to put a circle just around that one so I can still see the green, and 0, 0. Then she's at 10, 25. So I'm going to go over 10 and up to 25. So 10, 25. So your graph should start to look like this. 10, 25. Then we go 20, 50. So I'm going to go over to 20 and all the way up to 50. 20 all the way up to 50. And again, I'm just going to use my straight edge to connect those 3 points together. And I am also going to label this. So this was Lynn's table. So this is Lynn's line. Now I'm going to switch colors. And I am going to go to orange for May. So at 10 seconds, she had gone 0 meters. So I'm going to go over to 10 and then stay on the axis because she hadn't gone anywhere. So 10, 0 is her first point. Then we have 20, 25. So we go over to 20 and we are going to go up to 25. And then our last point for her is 40, 50. So at 40 seconds, she went 50 meters. So 40, 50. And again, I'm going to just use my straight edge here to connect the dots. So hers are, oops, what's going on with hers? 20, 25, 10, 0. All right, and then we're going to add in Tyler's points. So for Tyler, I'm just going to use blue. Tyler was at 0, 0. And then he went 20, 25. And then he went to 40, 50. And then we can just draw our line for Tyler, again, using a straight edge. And this blue line is Tyler. So then it wants to know which person is moving the most quickly. So the most quickly, which one do you think is moving the fastest if you were looking at this graph? Who is moving the fastest? Yeah, it would be Lynn because her line goes up the steepest and she reaches the destination before anybody else. So she is moving the fastest. So Lynn is moving the fastest or the most quickly. And we know this because her line is really steep compared to the others. All right, we're going to do the Are You Ready for More? So we're going to write equations to represent each person's relationship between time and distance. So remember, we're going to use the formula y equals kx, whereas that k is the constant speed. So let's start off with Diego. So we did Diego first when we drew the lines. So Diego, his would be y equals, and when we were at 1 second, so at 1 second, how fast or how far had he gone? That's right, 5/3. So our y would equal 5/3 of x. And that would be our equation for Diego. Now let's look at Lynn. So again, it's going to be y equals, we want to know what her constant speed was at that 1 second. And she was going 5/2. So it would be 5/2 of x. I want you to try doing my and Tyler's on your own. Try doing my and Tyler's. Pause the video and then come back. All right, let's check Mai's. So my y equals, what was her constant speed at 1 second? Was 5/4. So Mai's is 5/4 of x. And then we have Tyler. So we have to look at Tyler's from the previous lesson. At 1 second, he was 1 1/4, but that we also know is equal to 5/4. So Tyler's equation would also be y equals 5/4 of x. All right, our last question. Meteoroid Perseid 245 and asteroid X traveled through the solar system. The graph shows the distance traveled each traveled after a given point in time. Is asteroid X traveling faster or slower than Perseid 245? Explain how you know. So which one is going faster? Pause the video and take a moment to answer that question. Welcome back. So remember, just like up here, we want to look at which one's moving the fastest. So we said Lynn is moving most quickly. Her line is steeper than others, so we know she's going faster. If we look here, we know asteroid X is going faster because the line is moving up at a steeper pace. So asteroid X is moving faster than Perseid 245 because the line is more steeper. All right, we have this one that also goes along with it. So the graph shows the price of different lengths of 2 types of rope. If you buy $1 of each kind of rope, which one will be longer? So how would we know which one would be longer? So here's the price and here's the length. So we're going to just kind of estimate here $1. So if this is the price over here, we're going to call this about $1. And then this is our measurement. So this is how long it is in meters. So we have a point here and a point here. So if going this way makes it longer, and going this way makes it more expensive. Which one are you going to get a longer rope from? Yeah, the nylon rope is going to be longer because even though it's going at a less steep price, when it hits one, it's further along. So it's showing that the greater amount of nylon can be purchased over cotton. And we know this because we know this. Because the x-axis shows meters of rope and our point shows the comparison. All right, please complete your homework pages. If you need the summary, it's right here, and I will see you next time for lesson 13.